All right, so today we're talking about Chapter 10, Section 6, talking about cars. Now, this particular section, as well as again this book, it's a broken record every single time I begin one of these courses, but or I'm sorry, one of these lectures. But it just I really like this class because again, it's the hey, why didn't anybody teach me that kind of thing. And I also have a little bonus for you during the middle of the course, which is kind of cool. All right, so all of today's pretty short, I believe, but all of today is going to just basically follow along with everything that we've been doing, I think, for the entirety of chapter 10. We have some insanely stupid equation here, and then we just have to plug it in. And that's it. Again, it's just plug and chug. And again, I obviously the questions at the beginning, things do get tedious, things get pretty wild, and the homework, might lose its way sometimes. But overall, we do use our financing formula here. And I guess we'll just put this on a new page over here. So we can follow along with the formula. All right, so let's go back and see if there's anything I probably should have said here. Oh, okay, hopefully that was right there. Oh no. Okay, so we'll keep that there, I guess. So the mathematics of financing a car, a loan that you pay off within weekly or monthly payments or payments in some other type period, it's called an installment loan. And I don't think anything here is too much of a brain buster, so let's just go ahead and go to our formula. All right, so a loan payment formula for fixed installment loans. So the regular payment amount is PMT, so that's what PMT is, regular payment amount, required to repay a loan of P dollars paid N times per year over T years. Again, we're told what each and every single one of these letters mean at an annual rate of R is given by this insane formula right here. All right. So example one, suppose that you decide to borrow $20,000 for a new car. You can select one of the following loans, each requiring regular monthly payments. Now, uh, these, so the little extra I was going to give you was I actually did buy a brand new truck in February. I'm pretty sure many of you have also bought vehicles, or at least been in the process, but many of you probably also haven't because you're young and you just kind of get hand-me-downs and things like that because, well, that's just the process of growing up. But anyways, so looking at this particular problem, so suppose you decide to borrow $20,000 for a new car, and we have installment loan A, we can do a 3-year loan at 7%, or installment loan B, we can do 5-year loan at 9%. So there are pros and cons to each one of those. And same as last time, whenever I did this, instead of going through and doing the computation and behind the work calculator, that's just kind of there's no noise or anything. It's just kind of weird. So I'm going to go ahead and snip A and B over here, and then we'll talk about it because C wants us to compare. Payment. Yes, that's fine. And again, right here up at the top, it says the regular payment amount, PMT, in the formula. Okay. So anyways, so we do our plugging and chugging. We skip about 3 minutes of furiously plugging this into the calculator, and then we end up with for A, we see that if we have a 3-year loan at 7%, we will end up paying $618, about $618, right, a month. If we do a what was it, a 5-year loan at 9%, we end up paying about $415. Right now, obviously, looking at this, I don't know about you guys, but I would much rather pay the $415 as opposed to $618, right? Because that's a lot less of a payment than the 618. And of course, this is where the give and take happens, or where the rub happens, right? So what happens here is we have a $618 payment over 3 years. So let's go ahead and put that off to the side. Let's write that down. I'm gonna throw a little bit of mute in here. Okay. All right. So if we did 618 uh, times 3 years, and then we're also going to do 415 right down here times 5 years. Okay. So what is 618 times 3? Probably could have done that in my head. That's fine. Um, no, I'm looking at. It's not times 3. That's why I couldn't do it in my head. Times 12 times 3, 22. You're fine. Um, yeah. All right. So I'm doing 28 or $618 times 12 times 3, and I probably should put a 12 in there. Put a 12 in there. All right. So I'm doing times 12 because I'm making monthly payments. They're 12 months in a year, and I'm also paying for 3 years. So again, 12 months in a year, and I'm paying for 3 years. Okay. So the total amount, 618 times 12 times 3, is $22,248. All right, and let's do the other one. So 415 times 12 times 3. Oh man, no, it's times 5. I'm messing this up big time. Sorry, because this is a 5-year loan. Yes, it's 24,000. 24,900. Okay. And real quick, just to recap, I did times 3 again because the first one was a 3-year loan, the second one was a 5-year loan. I should put a 5 there. But anyways, um, with my first monthly payment plan, I ended up paying $22,000 on a $20,000 loan. The second one, I ended up paying $24,900 on a $20,000 loan. Okay, so while I would much rather pay $415 over the course of 5 years versus 618 for 3 years, right? Because I mean, that's over $200 more, right? $200 more a month. Well, the plus side to the $618 a month is, well, first of all, I pay off my loan 2 years quicker, which frees up so much more room, 2 extra years, right? At 415. So I pay off my loan quicker, but also in the end, notice how my interest, all right, it was a $20,000 loan, but I'm paying off $22,248, right? So that means I'm paying $2,248 in interest, whereas down here I'm paying $4,900 in interest. And again, at the end of the day, I would if I can afford that extra $200 a month, then the first installment plan would be by far the most attractive because, like I said, you pay it off faster, and in the end, you end up pocketing $2,700 more than if you took the 5-year installment plan. So this is pretty good, and it's also it is a well, there's not necessarily an example like this for like a house or something. Because I mean, your student loans, I'm assuming. Wait, well, so this is a loan to borrow a car. Okay. Um, you get to choose whatever you want. Of course, like I said, I bought a car in February, and I'll talk about that here in a moment. But there's two things to think about. If you can afford it, then pay the extra 200. All right. So next up, I'm pretty sure there's three examples. Let me check real quick before I spend too long on that part. Yeah, there's only three examples. Okay, good. All right, so now we're gonna get to the point where I'm going to, impart a little bit of my own personal wisdom here. Okay, so uh, obviously you guys, during the whole process of us going through interest rates and things like that, I rolled my eyes with pretty much every single example because they're all just so unrealistic. The numbers are, and plus I do a lot of investing. And I'm not a day trader. I'm not a millionaire. I don't make a lot of money, but I do a lot of investing, and I'm pretty successful at it. But I didn't talk about it because I feel like it's a rabbit hole a lot of people like to go down, and can really steer students and people wrong. So I didn't want to talk about that. But for this leasing, I do want to talk about that because for many people, the word leasing, that's just a bad word. Okay, so let's talk about what leasing is real fast. So starting down here at the bottom, it reads the leasing alternative. So leasing is the practice of paying a specified amount of money over a specific time for the use of a product. So leasing is essentially a long-term rental agreement, right? So like I said, leasing is usually a bad word, but let me just kind of show you what I did with my truck. Okay, so in February I decided to get a new vehicle, and it was a 2021 Toyota Tacoma. Right. Now I landed on Toyota Tacoma because I talked to a friend who works at a dealership, and he was like, you probably want a Toyota Tacoma, and we talked about it. And here's what he explained to me, and which makes so much sense. And now I'm going to explain it to you guys. So whenever you lease a vehicle, maybe I should go back to let's go back to this actually, because we need some words here. Okay. One of the words we're going to talk about is residual value, right? So let's look starting up here. We have an open-end lease. Each month you make a fixed payment based on the car's residual value. So the residual value is the estimated resale value of the car at the end of the lease and is determined by the dealer. Okay, so what the residual value means is, again, just kind of put it in our language. If you buy a vehicle for $40,000 and you have a 3-month lease or 3-year lease, well, the residual value is how much depreciation does that vehicle expect to take on over those 3 years. All right, and depending on what kind of vehicle you get, that $40,000 vehicle might be $30,000 in 3 years, or it might be a vehicle that has a history of not really reselling well, and it might go down to 20,000. So that's what the residual value means. And the advantages and disadvantages, I'm gonna talk to you about my advantages and disadvantages. So anyways, I went through here and looking at the best 3-5 year depreciation of vehicles, right? The best vehicle over the course of the best depreciating vehicle in 3 years is a Nissan Titan. You look over here to the right. Let's put our laser pointer here. In 3 years, your vehicle is only going to depreciate about 20.5%. A Nissan Titan. A Toyota Tacoma, the one I decided to get, depreciates at about 21.2% over the course of 3 years. All right, but now let's look at the 5-year. The 5-year, the Toyota Tacoma resells so much higher than every other single vehicle. And then of course over the 7-year, that's when we start seeing the Jeep Wrangler, the Chevy Corvette, and Toyota Tacoma still top 3 where they depreciate. Well, I was thinking, okay, so I want to get a vehicle that doesn't depreciate that much, but I also want a vehicle that I want, right? My options, I could, if I wanted to, I could have got a Titan, could have got a Tacoma, could have got F250 or F150. Well, the thing is, the Titan, the F250, and F150, they're way too much truck for me, right? I have a hard time parking my Tacoma. But anyways, I just really wanted something with the bed. And so I decided to get Toyota Tacoma. Well, I didn't buy it though, okay? Because it makes more sense to lease it. And for these vehicles that have these incredible resale values, it makes so much more sense to lease, right? You wouldn't want to lease a Dodge Challenger or a Honda Ridgeline or any of these, Kia Soul. You don't want to lease those because of the reason why what I'm about to tell you here in a moment. So I bought a Toyota Tacoma for $37,000. Well, I leased it at a sticker price of $37,000. And this was in February, and vehicle prices have gone up tremendously now. Okay, the residual price that the dealer put on the Tacoma was $31,000. So what does that mean? It means that I bought the truck for $37,000. It has a residual for $31,000. So that means in 3 years, when the dealership gets the truck back, if I want to say, all right, I'm done with my lease, I don't want to do it anymore, then it's theirs, whatever. But if I wanted to buy it, straight up from that point, then I would pay $31,000. Then I would take out a loan, one of those car loans we just did, and pay $31,000. But here's the cool thing. Okay, so this is this is just in the area, Roberts Toyota. This is a 2018 Toyota Tacoma SR. Now, this is a lot more complicated than I thought it'd be. But anyway, so SR is one of the lowest. I think it's actually the lowest trim that the Tacoma is, meaning that it doesn't really have all the bells and whistles. I have a TRD off-road, right? Mine has four-wheel drive. It has all the bells and whistles to go play, right? Well, this is an SR, and like I said, it is the basic truck, and it is selling for more than my truck right now was worth. All right, and this is a 2018 with 68,000 miles, and I don't drive a lot at all. I go fishing and I go to work. That's it. I got it February in 8 months, I put 5,500 miles on it. Right. So if I were to just maybe ballpark say, hey, I might take it out for a trip or two over the next 3 years. Let's say I put 30,000 miles on it. Okay. Well, again, this lower trim is still going for more than more than I paid. All right, let's just take a look at this now. All right, so as I look at used Tacomas throughout the nation, and the prices seem to be a lot more reasonable now, right? So this is that same truck going for 30,000, the same truck on the previous page, the SR going for 30,000, which is $7,000 less and has less mileage, right? So I hope I didn't put that dealership on blast, but that's just the way it is. So let's just look at something that might be similar to what I would have. Okay, and again, these are 3 years ago, so I'm looking at prices of 3-year-old trucks. Okay. This looks like the closest to what I might do right here. Boom. 2018 Toyota Tacoma TRD off-road. Right, this is an off-road, and this is also an off-road over here. And it's at 38,000 miles. It's at 30,000 miles. I'll probably have less, but let's just say I do put 30,000 miles on it over the course of 3 years. Notice that it's going for $39,000. Well, let's go back to our lecture. Let's go back to our textbook, actually. Which one is our textbook? Okay. And let's go ahead and read what the residual value is again. So the residual value is the estimated resale value of the car at the end of the lease and is determined by the dealer. If you recall, I said that the residual value of the Tacoma was $31,000. Well, 3-year-old Tacomas are going for $38,000. So what does that mean? Let's put up this board. All right, so I paid. Well, no, let's not do that. I didn't pay it. The sticker price of the truck I have right now. Sticker price, what is $37,000. The residual is $31,000. 3-year-old trucks right now, so 3-year-old trucks right now are going for about 30. Let's just say 37,000, just to be safe. So what this means is, in 3 years, right? If the economy continues to roar, maybe a chip shortage might die down a little bit, whatever. What I'll do is I'll go to the dealership and I'll say, all right, so here's the truck, and we agreed after 3 years that it's going to be worth $31,000. Let's work out a loan because I don't have $31,000. So let's work out a loan so I can now buy this truck for $31,000, right? I have that right to do it because you would obviously want to sell it to me first as a dealership. So I'm buying it for $31,000. The dealership can't say anything about it. They can't say, "Oh, we changed our mind. It's now worth $35,000," because that was the agreed upon contract that it's going to be worth $31,000 in 3 years. What I can do now is I say, okay, I get the loan, I sign a loan. I don't care what the length is, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7 years. It doesn't matter, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn right back around. And I'm going to sell the truck for $37,000, which obviously means I net $6,000. Right? And let's just say I don't get the full 36,000. Let's say it's 30 or 37,000. Let's say I get 36,000, and that's still $5,000. So now what I can do is I can now use this, in this particular case, this $6,000 as trade-in credit towards a new or used vehicle at any dealership. And that is the power of leasing. But that power of leasing only is only really good when you start looking at you have to look at cars that do not depreciate that much. Okay, so I don't want to talk about stocks. I didn't want to talk about other stuff. There's too many wormholes. But with leasing, I do know it's a, like I said, it's a bad word. But if you do it right, at the end of the year lease, you're going to have a substantial amount of trade-in credit. And so, like I said, at $6,000 trade-in credit, I could buy a brand new truck now. For if it's a $40,000 truck, I can buy it for 34,000. It's typically not a practice that's done, but yes, it is. It is. You can do that. Yeah. Um, everything is generally a case to case basis, but I would say no. Only because that's what I would say. Now again, I'm not. I'd have to look. You have to look at the numbers, and you have to work the numbers out. But typically, it's not a good idea. But it's also a reason why leasing, at least until about 10 or 20 years ago, uh, the only options to lease vehicles were the high end luxury vehicles because they didn't depreciate that much. But now technology gotten so good, there's more people that you can start doing pretty. You can start being well off leasing vehicles like a Tacoma or something like that. But usually it's trucks. Yeah, it's not just a Honda or Toyota because if you look at the 3-year depreciation model here on this page, um, you actually don't see a Honda. Um, you, you, yeah, you don't see a Honda until you get to 20th. All right, and of course you see that most of these, as a matter of fact, this RAV4 is the first one you see that is not a truck. So I mean, trucks are the ones that have resale value because there's lots of uses for trucks, obviously. But anyways, that's my little spiel. Hopefully that was pretty interesting. But let's move on now. All right. So again, I told you the advantages and disadvantages, but at the same time, you can kind of read that. But there is something I do want to say. Obviously, since I don't drive a lot, I picked the 10,000 miles a year, which also helped contribute to a higher residual. I mean, you could do anything from I think there was 12, 15, and 18,000 mile agreements as well, but that lowers the residual. That lowers how much that you'll get for it when you on a trade-in, or not a trade-in, but how much you'll get when you buy it. Um, let's see. I did no down payment. My payments were a lot. My payments are super low. I'm not gonna get into how low they are, but they are a lot lower than my wife's vehicle. Um, when the lease ends, you return the car to a dealer, and I have to be concerned about selling the car. Plus, not only that, but I get free maintenance for 3 years because the dealership wants to make sure that vehicle's in good working order. That way, whenever I return it, they have all the papers and they can sell it for a high amount. So that's good. But again, the disadvantages obviously when the lease ends, you don't own the car, but you can own the car if you pay the residual. You have a mileage limit. Just don't go over mileage limit. It says leasing does not cover, well, I guess, I mean, like flat tires, but yeah, as opposed to like oil changes and tire rotations, things like that. My truck they do all that for free. So, anyways, um, let's get on that. Auto insurance, of course, everybody knows about auto insurance. Well, if you don't, you should. Actually, I take that for granted. Many of you probably are young and don't really have an idea of auto insurance. Let's see if there's anything big we should talk about. So there are two components to liability, and liability is it's basically it's what you cover. So bodily injury liability and property damage liability. Um, you also need a collision and comprehensive coverage, and all these are usually rolled into an insurance plan. I mean, you can pick and choose how much you want to put into it. Like I think I don't know, this seems really high now that I think about it, but I think I have a comprehensive coverage of like $500,000 because I don't want to hit somebody that's driving around a Lambo and then I'm bankrupt for the rest of my life. Um, Plus, it's only like an extra $2 a month. But anyways, all these go into your insurance. All right, so here we go. New or used. So do I want to buy a new car or a used car? And it kind of ties into what Lori said, but not necessarily because we're no longer leasing. But actually, I didn't need to put that on a new page. Let's take that off. Forgot I had a whole page of nothing. And actually, I don't even think I need to put that paragraph in there. All right, so buying a new car or used cars, that's obviously, it's something you have to weigh. Do you have the finances for it? But obviously, at the end of the day, you would think, okay, well, I want a new car would be better because obviously it's newer. I know who the owner is because I look at them every morning in the mirror, right? But again, finances are a big deal, and you have to be able to have the finances. So let's look at this particular example. Suppose that you're thinking about buying a car and have narrowed down your choices to two options. Okay, so you're gonna have a new car. The new car option, it costs $25,000 and can be financed with a 4-year loan at 7.9%. And we are going to need to, because I certainly don't memorize it, pull in that ridiculous formula. And we'll put it at the top again like we did example 1. Okay, so uh, we're going to buy a new car at $25,000 and can be financed with a 4-year loan of 7.9%. Now, I will tell you that number actually sounds pretty high for a loan, but it also depends on your credit score. So I think this would be a pretty good example in terms of the numbers. A lot better than putting into a savings account and getting 8% back. So these numbers do actually sound pretty good. And then the used car option, you're going to buy a 3-year-old model. That's not bad. 3-year-old model is not bad. Of the same car that costs $14,000 and can be financed with a 4-year loan of 8.45%. So again, you have two options. Do you want to buy a brand new car for more money, or do you want to buy a 3-year-old car that you don't really know who owned it? You don't know if there's anything wrong with it. Um, are you willing to pay the extra for peace of mind? Well, first of all, let's just see how much we'll end up paying. So again, let's go ahead and do the handy dandy snipping here. Right. So again, just plug and chug, plug in the values, and we're going to figure out how much we pay each month, and what the problem's wanting. What is the difference in monthly payments between financing a new car and financing a used car? So let's see, 4-year loan. Yeah, okay. So both are 4-year loans. Okay. So the brand new car, $618 a month for 4 years, or the used car, $415 a month for 4 years. Okay. And again, this boils down to, uh, do can you afford it? Do you want a new vehicle? Notice how it doesn't say what's the best option, because realistically, it's not really a best option because you're still paying interest. You still have to pay extra money. It's just the difference between $200 a month and a 3-year old vehicle, a 3-year newer vehicle. Um, don't Well, let me see. Yeah, let's put that. Forgot to put the on the first example. I did this in the red and yellow, but looking at this, where we're looking at interest paid. So again, on the brand new car, right? So $618 times 36 months, right? So minus 20,000, I end up paying $2,200 in interest. If I do that same math over here, $415 over 4-year loan. Why did this stop at 36? says a new car cost can be financed with a 4-year loan. Okay, so that looks like an error in the book. So let's go ahead and let's touch on this instead over here. Okay, so I'm paying $618 a month. All right, I'm going to multiply it. What in the world? They're multiplying that by 60. Okay, so let's enter the financing thing and delete and erase those because uh, unless I'm missing something, the example it's saying that we are financing it over with a 4-year loan here. Same car can be financed with a 4-year loan here, and then we're wanting to know the difference in monthly payments between financing the new car and financing the used car. Well, here we have 3 years of payments, and here we have 4 years of payments. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, 5 years of payments. So let's actually delete those, and uh, we'll do our interest on our own here. Okay, because we should be multiplying this by 48, not 36 or 60. All right, so here we go. We have 618. We're paying $618 a month times 48 months. So, oh gosh, that's a lot of money. All right, so $29,000, 664, and then 415 times 48. Okay, so how much interest are we paying? Well, if my new car costs $25,000 and over the course of 4 years I end up paying $29,000. So I'm paying $4,664 in interest. That's $4,664 I'll never get back. Whereas for the second car, I'm paying $5,920 in interest. That's almost $1,300 more than the used car in terms of interest. So um, my newer car, I pay a lot more a month, but in the end, I pay less interest. Whereas obviously my used car, I pay a lot less a month, but I'm paying a lot more in interest. And notice how the problem didn't say which one is better. It really just depends on your financial circumstances. Um, we already talked about the leasing. Oh, we went back. That's right. And then lastly, we've got the fuel expenses. So on top of the thing we was talking about with leasing the vehicles, you also have to consider that if we go back here, um, all of these are trucks, like we said, and trucks generally don't have really good gas mileage. So that's something else that you also have to consider whenever you buy a vehicle. But that's also kind of considered in terms of your mileage limitations. But if we look at the cost of gasoline, so the annual fuel expense is going to be equal to the annual miles driven divided by miles per gallon, and then multiply that by the price per gallon. Now, that's pretty interesting. So example 3 must have jumped straight to the future because we are fastly approaching $4 per gallon. So actually, it went down about 20 cents like over the weekend. I remember seeing it at 3.20. Now it's at 3 again. Okay, and we can do this arithmetic. I don't mind doing this behind the works or behind the camera rather. Alrighty, so the problem reads: suppose that you have 24,000 miles per year and gas averages $4 per gallon. All right. So what will you save in annual fuel expenses? Mark this as A. What will you save in annual fuel expenses by owning a hybrid car averaging 50 miles per gallon rather than an SUV that averages 12 miles per gallon? That's horrible. Okay, well, first of all, um, if let's do the hybrid. Let's mark the let's put H for hybrid. So the hybrid vehicle, all right, if I'm just going to follow along with my formula up here, annual fuel expenses. So the annual fuel expenses of my hybrid vehicle maybe I should be a lot more clear. Let's put hybrid AFE, hybrid annual. No, let's do it this way. Let's not be confusing. We'll just put AFE, and we'll put a sub H for the hybrid. All right. So that's going to be the annual miles driven. So we are driving 24,000 miles. That looks to be the same for both of them, right? So 24,000 miles divided by miles per gallon. So I get 50 miles per gallon in my hybrid. And I'm going to multiply that by my gallons, or price per gallon, which is going to be $4 a gallon. All this will end up being, let's do the arithmetic, 1920. So $1,920 of fuel consumption for the hybrid vehicle. And let's do the AFE, the annual fuel expense of our SUV, which put an S down here for sub S. Again, we're driving 24,000 miles. All right. This time we're getting an incredibly low, like you have to try to get that low, of 12 miles per gallon times 4. So 24,000 divided by 12, and then times 4, that's 8,000, right? Yeah, 8,000. All right, so that is the annual fuel expenses of our hybrid vehicle versus our SUV. So that is incredible there. And to be honest with you, if I could have, because I mean uh, I obviously think hybrid is the way to go, or at least electric is in the future. And I would have got a Tesla truck in February if they were actually selling them. But alas, they weren't back then. But anyways, so B reads, if you deposit your monthly fuel savings at the end of each month into an annuity, into an annuity that pays 7.3% compounded monthly, how much will you have saved at the end of 6 years? All right, so let me, let me see if they give us the, yeah, so here's the formula for annuity here. So let's go ahead and snip this. And while we're at it, give me 1 second. I'm gonna try and do another formula real quick. There's just one I use often. Give me a second. So 7.3% compounded monthly. Okay. All right, I was trying a different formula out. It didn't work. So, all right. So it says if you deposit your monthly fuel savings, so depending on what you drive, it looks like you save $6,080 per year. Um, well, say it looks like depends on what you drive. The difference between our SUV and our hybrid vehicle. So if we save $6,080 per year, obviously we divide that by 12, so we're saving $507 per month. That is insane. $507 per month, and then if you deposit that at the end of each month, you put it into your handy dandy annuity formula, and you'll see that at the end of 6 years, you'll have saved $45,000. So that is pretty incredible in terms of the gas savings. But I mean, I couldn't imagine spending $500 extra a month on fuel expenses. But again, I don't drive that much, so. It so and let me end this before I let me make sure we're done here real quick before I talk about that. Okay.